Hi guys, I hope you're well. If you don't know who I am, my name's Thomas Blakemore. I teach Travel and sometimes Triumph. This is going to be a teach video. This is a video that every single teacher out there needs to see. It's going to be most useful for those of you who are new to teaching or about to start your NQT year, but this is something that is absolutely certainly going to be useful. Before we get started with this video, can you do me one massive favour? I know that 93% of you out there are not yet subscribed to the channel, so click the subscribe button down there. If you hit the notification bell, you'll be alerted when I post. If you feel like liking the video, that's great. That's always really appreciated too. So let's jump straight into a range of different tips that teachers around the world wish they knew from the start of their teaching careers. So what I wanted to do is share some of my own tips, and then after that go to the different answers that I received over on Instagram. If you're not yet following me on Instagram, it's the same as this YouTube channel, Thomas Blakemore, and there's a link in my description to go and find me there. I post a range of different questions and things that you can get involved with that link to this channel too. So to start off with, what is my number one tip? And my number one tip is something that you've probably heard of many different times in many different professions, but it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, and that is to treat everyone the same regardless of their position. Yes, you are a teacher. Technically, you are in a position of authority that is above certain others. However, that doesn't give you an excuse to treat other people differently. I have always stood by the rule of treat everyone the exact same way you expect to be treated. Whether that's the caretaker, the receptionist, the TAs, they all expect to be treated the exact same ways. It's important to do so. You never know when that positive relationship is going to be important. So whether that's the caretaker and all of a sudden, whether it comes to the weekend, you realise you've left your laptop and you need to get that laptop back from school. Having that ability to call the caretaker is fantastic. So just make sure that you treat everyone with respect. However, also remember that you're not just developing relationships to be able to use them later on. You just need to make sure that you develop positive relationships, full stop. So now we're going to get on to specific tiny little tips that you guys need to know, almost like teacher secrets. So one of my teacher secrets, teacher hacks, is to keep a tray or whatever of spare glue stick lids. I know that it's almost certain that the glue stick lids are going to go missing at some point. And yes, it's important for you to be able to say, right, go and find the glue lids, and for the children to know that they're accountable for that. But at the end of the day, I don't know where the glue lids go. Sometimes they just do disappear, and having spares available means that you're not just going to be wasting glue sticks, full stop. So anytime that glue sticks get finished, keep the lids, store them somewhere, and you know that you've got some spares then too. Teacher hack number 2 is to make sure that children leave their books on an open pile. Now, this is subjective, it's completely up to you how you do that, but I know that leaving books in an open pile saves you that extra time of opening up and finding what page children have completed work on. Those valuable seconds do add up over the course of a year and a career. My next tip is a tip for the start of the year, and that is to write down a class list and print off multiple copies. I have found having a class list absolutely useful for a range of different reasons, whether that's just quickly jotting down any allergies next to the names, whether that's writing down different birthdays so you can turn that into a display, having just a range of different class lists available so that you can just quickly write notes next to names. I just find it extremely useful, and so do other teachers. So trainee primary teacher says, modelling how to draw a straight line, modelling how to glue a worksheet in straight. That's unbelievably true. At the start of the year, it's so important that you set your expectations straight. Not just expectations for behaviour, but also for presentation. Now, part of that is taking things right down to the basics. I remember with my year 6 class back in the UK, talking about how to glue in sheets correctly, what I expect when they're glued in so that you don't get flappy bits, making sure that children understand how to use a ruler correctly, how many lines to leave, a range of different presentational things that children do need to understand. Miss LEYFS says, same with pen lids, so that's linking back to my tip before. Make sure that you've got a range of different spare ones available. Very true. SIF is fantastic for cleaning whiteboards too, so I think I need that one more than anything, even though that I've been teaching coming up to 5 years now. Yeah, I'm always looking for products for cleaning whiteboards because water sometimes just doesn't cut it. Rosie Rosa Rose, I'm really sorry if I said that wrong and completely butchered your name, says keep a hard copy of resources, makes copying quicker rather than reprinting, and that's entirely true. Having a range of different copies, what I used to do actually is print and keep one copy of each thing and do that the night before, so that if I come in the morning, I don't have to start fussing about printing things off. I can just quickly photocopy things and be ready for the day, especially if I've got a busy day ahead. The same person says, don't give out lots of rubbers and sharpeners, a limited number, count in and out. So just thinking about not giving out too many rubbers and sharpeners and things like that, because it's very easy for things to go missing. So just have a think about the amount of resources that you give out too. Keep a daily planner and daily to-do list. Excel is ideal for this. So this is subjective for sure. Personally, I use just a notebook for my organisation, but having something that helps you be more organised is also quite important too. Pair of Teachers says, keep all of your teacher planners, so useful for future planning and checking on track. So yeah, I'd say keep those old things. There's no harm in keeping old planners, especially if you know that there's important information in there that you might need to reflect on in the future. Miss A. Carby, now this is an incredibly useful and valuable tip. Always take a few to yourself after child protection sessions to process all the info. Now, that is one, to process all the information that you receive, but also because some of the information that you get is quite heavy. So sometimes it's important to just take that time, whether that's a child protection session that you've had as a CPD, or whether that's a child protection discussion that you've had with a child. Sometimes you do need that time, and it's important to take that time for yourself too. Miss Sophie _W, collect books open on the page, saves so much time when marking. See, told you that was useful. Travelbug Teacher says, keep a box of recycling for junk modelling so you don't have to badger parents for cereal boxes. Completely agree. There might be times where you do need to ask parents for additional things such as recycling, and that's completely fine too. But if you're keeping old bits and pieces for your class, it just saves that bit of time. I'd always say that actually you might need those spare bits, especially if children bring things in from home. There are always going to be those times where you need those spare bits too. Lizzles _ says, mark throughout the lesson, instant feedback and game changer to your marking. If you're not yet doing that, it's certainly something to do, depending on your school's marking policy. I had a friend that was not allowed to do that, and we were always comparing different workloads. Mine was something that I was finding okay. He was struggling, and I think that was part of what came down to it. It does significantly reduce your workload at the end of the day when you've been able to mark throughout the lesson and gone around different children. It's also, as Lizzles does say, more valuable to the children because it's instant at getting it and they're being able to change misconceptions throughout the lesson. Lizzles _ says, exit slips as summarised assessment opportunities. My school are really big on exit slips at the moment, and it doesn't have to be a specific slip. It could just be a certain question that you ask children to write down on a whiteboard, and they give you the whiteboard on the way out the door. It's just basically giving the children the chance to share their understanding of whatever that lesson was as they exit, and gives you that opportunity to think, right, do I need to reteach this sort of lesson or address any misconceptions at the end of the lesson. Miss _A _Carby says, also take a breath before walking into a classroom so that your starting energy is there. This is important not just after safeguarding sessions. Sometimes it's important to do if you've had a particularly challenging lesson, or it might be that you've had a behaviour management incident that's really taken its toll on you. If you need to take time, that links back to that positive relationships with staff. It might be important for you to be able to talk to people and say, look, I need to take a minute to do X, Y, Z. I've done that in the past and it's completely fine to do. So that marks the end of the video, and this is where you can come in. What other tips do you think teachers should know? Make sure you comment them down below. It's always fantastic to see a range of different educators collaborating together and sharing a range of ideas. I really appreciate your time on this one. Hopefully you've learned something and one of the tips within this video has been useful. If you found it useful, feel free to hit the like button. That's really appreciated. And as I was saying before, if you've not already, please hit the subscribe button. I make a range of different teaching and travelling content that you can get involved with. If you click the notification button, you'll be alerted when I post too. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one, but for now, I'm out.